Happy Easter and welcome to the UBC Weekly News Roundup on this 5th of April 2026 with me, Moureen Babirye. Let's get into our reports. Christians across the country are celebrating Easter Sunday, the day when Jesus Christ resurrected. In Rome and across the world, many are in churches for prayers. We'll bring you highlights from the Vatican on the ongoing Mass.
During this Mass, he reflected on good, evil, and rebirth. Easter, the Pope said, quoting from an ancient hymn, drives out hatred, fosters concord, and brings down the mighty. While the heart of Easter, the Easter story, is Jesus' resurrection from the dead, Pope Leo said the holy mystery of Easter, the Easter Vigil, extends across the centuries.
Tra pochi istanti la processione d'ingresso ci introdurrà nella celebrazione della Santa Messa. Siamo tutti invitati a partecipare con fede e raccoglimento, evitando gli applausi e astenendoci di innalzare cartelli e sventolare bandiere.
The entrance procession of the Eucharistic celebration is about to commence. You are invited to participate with faith and with recollection in Holy Mass, avoiding applause and refraining from raising banners or waving flags.
Dentro de breves momentos, la procesión de entrada nos introducirá en la celebración de la Santa Misa. Dispongámonos a participar con fe y recogimiento, evitando los aplausos y absteniéndonos de levantar carteles y ondear banderas.
Gloria in excelsis Deo. Oremus.
Let us pray.
Deus qui odierna die, per unigenitum tuum, eternitatis nobis aditum, de victa
O
morte,
God, who on this day,
reserasti.
through your only
Da
begotten
nobis
Son,
quaestis festivitas, Iesu resuscitati, inter nos adstantis, laetitiam cum omnibus communicate. Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, quia meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit, sicut dixit, alleluia, ora pro nobis Deum, alleluia.
Vatican Easter celebrations there for you. Now, relatedly, Christians have been called to live as brothers and sisters, removing all boundaries that separate them from one another and those that separate them from God, because Jesus' resurrection symbolizes God's love for all. While leading the Easter sacrifice of Mass at Our Lady of Africa Catholic Church in Buya Parish, priest Reverend Father James Patrick Jumba also said and called on Christians to be witnesses of Jesus Christ through their way of living.
Christians from Buya and surrounding areas turned up in big numbers at Our Lady of Africa Catholic Church, Buya, to participate in the sacrifice of Mass on Easter Sunday. Christians who have been in 40 days of fasting during the Lent season have been challenged to ponder on what next and what is God calling them to do. While leading Mass, the parish priest, Our Lady of Africa Buya, Reverend Father James Patrick Jumba, said Lent was not time for them to reduce sinning, but to stop all their evil ways and change. He emphasized that Easter is an invitation to Christians to see things differently.
Remove all boundaries, because with Easter we come to know that God loves all of us. God's love has no boundaries. May we open up our boundaries. May we be open to others. May we remove whatever separates us from our brothers and sisters, like our tribes, our cultures, languages, those small things that separate us from others. All we have to know that Christ died for all of us, and through Christ we are all daughters and sons of God.
Reverend Father Jumba told Christians to be witnesses of the good news, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, through their ways of living, having faith and trust in God, who has the power to remove stones in their lives.
We too are called to be witnesses of the risen Christ through our way of living, through our lifestyle, through our words and action. We are called to be witnesses. Easter is to be shared, that joy. The joy of Easter is not to be kept, but to be shared. The power and the strength to remove all our stones. If we remove the stone that was keeping Jesus in the tomb, he has this power and the same strength to remove even our small stones. May we pray for a stronger faith to believe in the power and the presence of God, that he has the capacity to remove and transform all what is scaring us.
I'm Nafka Farida and Robert Katamba in Buya.
Now, on a tragic note, specifically Thursday's homicide, police arrested a 39-year-old suspect who allegedly gained access to an early childhood development center in Gaba and brutally murdered 4 toddlers. The incident left parents devastated and raised urgent questions about the safety of children in care centers. Authorities say investigations into the motive are still ongoing. We have a report.
4 toddlers have been killed by stabbing at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center. It is alleged that the prime suspect, Christopher Okello Onyum, aged 39, a resident of Noya district, allegedly gained access to the premises and attacked the children, killing 4 of them. Preliminary information suggests that the suspect had visited the center 2 days prior to the incident.
Seeking for admission, and he was told to go back to the school today, where what he did, he actually also paid for the admission, and after that proceeded and attacked these children.
At the time of the attack, 14 toddlers were present at the facility. 10 survived and were safely evacuated and handed over to their parents.
We deeply condole and sympathize with the families that have lost these very young children whose future has been cut short by an unknown person whose motive is still unknown.
Now a team of scene of crime officers is already on ground to obtain any form of other piece of evidence that could be very important in solving the equation of this incident. Now 3 children were pronounced dead upon arrival in the hospital, while 1 body was retrieved from the school where the incident occurred.
They have been identified as Odeke Ryan, a 1 year and a 1.5-year-old male. There is Eteko Gideon, 2.5-year-old. There is Keisha Alungat, 2 years. There is Ignatia Seruyange, also 2.5 years.
Zembera munyonyo nezirukimsene ku bodaboda nzije ndabe ekibaddewo n'ekyensanze nga baŋŋamba abange bali safe gye bali eri naye nga ku lwange kwogera ku bya security kyenyina okulowooza nti muweereza wa Mukama Pastor Kasiriivu kwongeramu security wano.
Police apprehended the suspect as angry residents attempted to attack him. Security agencies fired bullets in the air to disperse the crowd.
Tukyotuuseeko kyolabirako ddala osobola okugamba nange bamumpe muli obunyama kuba ekikola kyakoze kibi nnyo kyantiisa. Watusanze emirambo wali eri emisaayi gijjudde abaana bafiiridde mu bulumi bw'amaanyi. Kati naawe n'owobeera ggwe osobola onyiigamuko n'ogamba bamumpe muyuzeyuze. Era senga kubaddeko mutabani wange ndowooza nange leero we nandifudde.
Ntemu ayingidde asaza abaana ensingo bubi nnyo, baana mwaka gumu ku 2. Ziddole zibadde zigudde ebyokuzanyisa byabwe, omusaayi guli mu luggya wonna. Ne poliisi yandituuse n'esooka n'enoonyereza kizze kitya, kituuseewo kiteetuse mu kuba abantu basatu.
Ebulago nagenda baafumita n'asala n'omulala n'asala n'ampoera.
Residents and parents rushed to the scene upon receiving the devastating news. Many expressed shock, stating that they had left their children at the center earlier in the day as part of their normal daily routines.
Tuyambako nnyo okuleka kuba oba tolina woleka mwana gano singa muleke waka nodda nga alina byakoze waka. Obadde omuleeta n'abeera wanene n'asiibawo bulungi n'omusanga nga ali seefu n'omukwata n'omuzza ewaka. Nga just obadde oleeta ngoye ne bagamba leeta omwana n'oleeta engoye nga otandikira ku mwaka gumu bana bibadde bakuuma. Bamukuleke n'obalekera n'ogenda n'okula n'okoma naye at the end of the month n'obawayo 13. Kyekirungi ky'essomero lye libadde lituyamba mu kitundu kyaffe.
One of the parents, Mama Daniela, crying, they took her. That's one of the person who lost the kid.
So you said you are teaching your school is neighboring the school that where the incident occurred. So how is your security in your school, which is a neighbor to this one here?
For me, there are day scholars who don't have boarding, and people stop at 2.
Police say investigations are ongoing to establish the motive behind the attack. In a related development, authorities are also pursuing suspects involved in a robbery at the Centenary Bank on Nkuruma Road.
We registered a robbery along that road, Nkuruma. Yes, and our teams are still investigating, and efforts are still ongoing to have the suspects arrested.
Thank you, Kahwa, for that report. Now, in relation to the Gaba incident, the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Barugahara, has called for a speedy trial of Christopher Okello Onyu, who is currently in custody over the murder of 4 juveniles in Gaba on Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. The minister says that only a fair and expeditious judicial process will help the grieving families begin to come to terms with their loss.
The brutal murder of juveniles at Gaba Early Childhood Development Center in Kampala on Thursday, 2nd April 2026, continues to draw widespread condemnation from both the public and government. The State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Barugahara, is the latest to extend his sympathies to the affected families.
We have a few gaps remaining. Implementation guidelines not fully enforced nationwide. Her Excellency Mama, the First Lady, has done her part. Police has been put in place. She has district inspectors of schools, and they are not doing their part. So we need to enforce and also improve on the monitoring and evaluation of performances of some of these key people.
According to Minister Balam Barugahara, the Gaba incident should serve as a wake-up call not only to government but to all stakeholders responsible for ensuring the safety of learning centers.
As you could be aware, many of these private schools have terrible infrastructure. Like the school in Gaba in Point, they didn't have a gateman or a watchman's room where a watchman could control from. It had took 2 courageous young women to fight a man who was armed with knives. So we need to improve on infrastructure in some of these schools. Some dormitories in general are overcrowded, limited fire system, unsafe buildings, short boundary walls.
He adds that although efforts and regulations have been put in place by the Ministry of Gender in collaboration with other ministries, limited funding continues to delay their enforcement and implementation.
We need to push hard because that ECCE policy is the weakest regulatory segment, yet it handles the most vulnerable children. So in the bottom line, Uganda is not starting from zero. There are policies, strategies, and advisory that are in place. But in the real issue or what is affecting us is implementation, number 1, enforcement, and the resourcing.
In this particular case, the minister has called for a speedy trial of the suspect, urging for tough and deterrent punishment.
We can have the human rights, but such a person who slaughters and murders innocent babies should be put at the firing squad. What are they investigating? The investigation should know who gave him the money. Let's get his background, who gave him the money and what was the purpose of the money. Because he went to school, can a madman have a PIN number on his mobile phone? Can a madman know that I come from Chanja and you travel to Chanja? The next day you leave Chanja and you return. Can a madman know all those things? We should stop protecting criminals. A criminal is a criminal should face the law. And facing the law should be speedy trial, not even sending him on remand for 5 months, 6 months. That one requires speedy trial. He killed in action and you saw him killing. If he killed in action, let's investigate the cause. That investigation can last a week. And then they take him to court, read his charges. They ask him if he has defense, if he has no, firing squad at State Square or Kororo airstrip. It should be a lesson to mad people. Is a mad person? How can someone be mad and you have mobile money and you have a PIN number? And even you live in Chanja, you bought a taxi, you reach a tax park, you buy knives. If he was mad, the people who sold him knives, they didn't see him as a mad person.
Following the directive issued on Friday, 3rd April 2026 by the State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Muyingo, the Gaba facility has since then been closed and remains under lock and key as security agencies continue to treat it as an active crime scene. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Still last week, in other news, the government of Uganda launched the first ever locally manufactured diagnostic test kits for HIV and AIDS, malaria and sickle cell. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, officiated at the inaugural launch and reiterated that this marks a major step towards achieving the country's health sovereignty and reducing the importation of medical supplies. We have the details.
The three unveiled locally manufactured diagnostic kits include those for HIV/AIDS, malaria and sickle cell. This initiative falls under the Buy Uganda Build Uganda program, with government support extended to the proprietors of Microhem Scientifics.
Producing locally, I want to emphasize this. We save foreign exchange. We create jobs. He already talked about this. We promote innovation and strengthen our industries in line with our policies. The Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policies.
While launching these innovations, the Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, assured the country that this trend will enhance import substitution within the health sector.
Local manufacturing, we are taking control of our future and ensuring our health system remains functional even amidst global uncertainty. And so external funding is no longer guaranteed. Countries that depend heavily on foreign aid risk disruption in essential services. This is what true resilience looks like.
Currently, Uganda imports up to 99% of its health supplies, which undermines its financial sovereignty and exposes it to external price fluctuations.
Using and integrating these high-quality diagnostic kits into our national health system, we are taking a bold step towards health sovereignty. Because currently Uganda imports, like other speakers have said, nearly 99% of the health products, exposing us to global price fluctuations and supply chain disruptions.
Statistics show that Uganda uses approximately 30 million malaria kits and 15 million HIV test kits annually, all of which were being imported.
The Minister of Health has commended this development and confirmed that the newly launched products will be deployed in all government hospitals.
Kits are already being procured and distributed through the national medical stores, Right Honourable Prime Minister, to our facilities across the country. This marks a significant and historic step forward.
Government has committed to supporting the consumption of locally made products under the Buy Uganda Build Uganda initiative, provided the producers maintain the required standard.
Our policies, procurement and regulatory systems favour them while maintaining the highest quality standards. Made in Uganda must always mean quality, reliability and trust.
We'll integrate these diagnostic kits into our national procurement system based on their proven effectiveness and reliability.
The proprietor of Microhem Scientifics, Cedric Akwesje, applauds the government for its support in achieving this milestone in local production.
The entire budget of Ugandan money has been allocated to us. We have manufactured, we have delivered, we have all these people you see here. 90% of them are from hospitals, from laboratories. We have trained them, we have shown them how to do this, and they are using products made here from each hospital using.
Government is cognizant of the changing global health financing landscape, which is becoming increasingly unreliable, and it plans to continue supporting local innovations aimed at solving national health challenges. Abdul Nasser Lubwama for UBC.
In Busoga, the ghetto youth in the sub-region hailed President Yoweri Museveni for supporting them through his initiative on empowering the ghetto youth. The initiative focuses on transforming lives of the youth there through financial inclusion via SACCOs and job creation. It aims to also reduce crime and poverty.
25. President Museveni gave a total of 1.2 billion shillings to ghetto SACCOs in the 12 districts and cities within the Busoga sub-region, with each SACCO receiving 100 million. This revolving fund has an annual interest of 6% and should be paid back after 1 year. The Busoga Ghetto SACCO project was coordinated by the Special Presidential Assistant Press and Mobilization and also Deputy Press Secretary Haj Farouk Kirunda, with the support of the Director Crime Intelligence Uganda Police, General Christopher Damulira.
Now when the President got a report that this thing was working well, actually when he did the PDM tour in July of 2025, he went to the ghettos. He went to Kasokoso. You saw him. He went to Kasokoso. He went to Kawempe, to the ghetto offices, operational ghetto offices, and he got information firsthand from the ghetto members themselves on how they were going about their lives. And he was so impressed. We went to Jinja City and all the districts of Busoga, and we launched Ghetto Youth SACCOs. I worked with Mr. Farouk Kirunda, the Deputy Press Secretary, who knows the area very well, so we made good contacts, we did good launches, the money was provided. In Busoga, we created 12 SACCOs.
Now, meet Mutesi Rachel, a resident of Danida, Kirembe Ghetto, Walukuba, Jinja City. She is a qualified nurse, but she was stuck after graduating from a nursing school due to unemployment. However, when President Museveni extended the shillings 100 million empowerment funds to the Jinja City ghetto youth, Mutesi was among the youth who benefited from the first phase of the project.
Ghetto structure. Eranga twebaza mzee olw'okwidukira niife aba ghetto kubanga twalinga y'abandi nga twasoma aye ng'emirimu tuzira nga tubaawo tuzira kyakola nga tuba mu kutyama kulera mikono. Era nga musente de bampa obukeera obusatu ekitundu nasobola okutawa drug shop nga drug shop eno erina ebintu byensobola ogifunamu.
Another beneficiary, Mugoya Shafik alias Little Angel of Cobra of Iceland Ghetto Bugembe, Jinja City, commended President Museveni for transforming the lives of the ghetto youth in Jinja City and Busoga at large.
Obuyambi obwe batu wabampa emitwalo ameka 5. Nganze publicity wa Jinja City ni bachali bange. Mitwalo 5 ge bampa naja nasubulamu obukoko bosaso buno bwebaletera mu kisero. Natandika n'obukoko 30. Natandika n'enko 30 kwafa gwenkonga 5 ku 10 ayira tyapowa nasigalanga obusende bwenfuna obutono bwentunda mwene mitwalo 2 nja nagulamu obukoko kati saadi ndi mungoko nga 12.
The Assistant Resident City Commissioner Jinja City, Michael Kasede, who was assigned with the responsibility to mobilize the ghettos in Jinja City, said the city has over 6,000 ghetto youth, and out of that number, 303 have benefited from the initiative so far. In Iganga District, the ghetto youth under their group, the Konkaraganga Pure Soap Company Limited in Kono 3, are making wonders with the ghetto SACCO funding. Under their company, Nasije Pure Soap Limited, the 30 ghetto youth produce 60 boxes of bar soap in a week.
The Rwanda High Commission in Uganda lined up a series of events to commemorate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi as the country marks 32 years since the tragedy. Rwanda's High Commissioner to Uganda, Joseph Rutabana, says the activities will focus on remembrance, reflection and reinforcing the message of never again. He revealed this during a briefing at the Rwandan High Commission offices in Chitante, noting that the events will bring together government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, survivors, and the Rwandan community in Uganda. Have a look.
So this year marks
the 32nd commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. We refer to it as Kwibuka 32. Kwibuka is a Kinyarwanda word meaning remembering. Events related to Kwibuka 32 will start on the 7th of April 2026. That is next Monday. There will be a national commemoration in Rwanda, countrywide. As in previous years, Kwibuka 32 will spread to 100 days, a period of time for remembrance, reflection, and unity. This is the time to honor the lives lost, continue to support survivors of the genocide, and reinforce the commitment to never again. The High Commission's main commemoration event will take place on the 10th of April 2026. It will be a Friday, and it will take place at the Golo Memorial Site in the Mpigi district.
In other news, the government of Uganda drafted a waste management policy that will guide the country into transforming garbage from being a burden into a resource and an opportunity. The draft policy, ready for presentation to Cabinet and Parliament, was prepared by the National Multi-Sectoral Stakeholder Platform, which was set up by the Cabinet under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja.
24, Cabinet directed the Ministry of Local Government to develop a national waste management policy to guide the transformation of waste into a resource and support Uganda's transition towards a circular economy. And this reflects a fundamental shift in how we view waste not as a burden but as an opportunity. Waste, if poorly managed, constrains our cities. It also threatens public health and undermines economic productivity. The other day, you remember, we even lost life. So you can lose life when you don't manage waste properly. However, when properly harnessed, it becomes a driver of value, supporting industry. You can generate electricity. You can also get employment for our people, and of course, promoting environmental sustainability. I wish to also emphasize that effective waste management is not the responsibility of one institution. It requires collective action.
If we get our act together, we can now move from a waste that causes loss of life to waste that becomes a source of value. If we do not come out with financing mechanism, then we shall not implement the policy. So from the household, the generators of waste, to the local governments and KCCA, the central government, our development partners, and eventually the business community, the off-takers, we think that the financing is possible. We have the resources internally, but also the external partners are here to support us.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, balance?
Mama, nkwenye nkumitano.
Ompa ile kumibisi.
Abantu abakulu mwatandise obuyayi mwena.
Obuyayi obuliwa.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko
Aba mubibozi
sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5k. That's the power of Momo.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We are the DPF. We protect your money. Protection Fund of Uganda.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5k. That's the power of Momo.
Welcome back from the break. Now, still last week, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabbanja, received an award from the people of Muyenga community in Makindye division in Kampala. A group of leaders led by the Mayor of Makindye-elect, Yasin Omar, delivered the medal that afternoon at her office in Kampala. They say they decided to award Nabbanja because of her outstanding performance and service delivery towards the ordinary Ugandan. The Prime Minister appreciated the award and pledged to continue serving the people of Uganda regardless of status. Apologies, our dear viewer, for that technicality. But in more news, members of the Parliamentary Committee on Information, Communication Technology expressed the need for Ministry of Finance to fund the budgets for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Uganda Communications Commission and NITA Uganda under the Ministry of ICT to effectively play their roles as Uganda hosts the African Cup of Nations 2027. Presenting the responses of the ministry to the committee, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede, said UBC's budget to promote the tournament to Ugandans and the whole of the world is 32 billion Uganda shillings.
Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, led by the State Minister for ICT, Godfrey Kabyanga, and the Permanent Secretary, Amina Zawede, have appeared before the Committee on Information Communication Technology to respond to questions on their budget for financial year 2025-26 and budget priorities for 2026-27.
Budget, next year's budget, those two departments, National Guidance has only 1.4 billion allocated to it. And then information has only 2 billion allocated to it. And you know, now media center is under the information department.
Members of the committee asked about the 100 billion domestic areas accrued by UBC as per the ministerial policy statement and the efforts put in place to clear them. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT, Amina Zawide, said the corporation is working with the ministry and has also written to Minister of Finance to allocate funds to clear them.
Is in liaison with Minister of ICT and Finance to have funds allocated to the areas to have funds allocated to pay off the areas if funding provision allows. In this line or regard, UBC has written to Minister of Finance through Minister of ICT.
Because now the UBC desperately is writing to the Minister of Finance through the Minister of ICT about the domestic areas, the 100 billion. I think this is for strategic direction as a ministry. We would do brief the ministry, the committee, what have you done? Because this is a lot of money.
Zawede told the committee that UBC's budget for AFCON 2027 is 32 billion shillings and the entity expects to collect 2 billion revenues from the tournament.
2027 AFCON budget that is broken down in the table here where we have satellite and transport equipment, signal broadcasting rights, production on TV, radio, promotion over 11 stations and promotion over 40 stations that amounts to 32.006 billion. On the previous experience from the last concluded CHAN games, UBC expects to generate 2 billion.
Members of the committee had mixed reactions on this, with some supporting funding this budget 100%, while the chairperson of the committee, Ayo Tony, advised UBC officials to revise the figure for the revenue.
When you support UBC's program under AFCON, you would be saving us from struggling to look for funds here when we can get that under AFCON and then that problem is solved. You are expecting 2 billion revenue. I think you go and revisit this. Just don't cut and paste something and drop here. It's going to look ugly. Because that's what you have done. That since the other year we did this, let's assume you don't work like that. Let's be.
In a new development, government is set to tax public performers in the proposed tax regime. Entertainers through music, among others, will be required to pay 6% income tax. The Minister of State for Finance in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, presented the 8 tax bills to the Parliamentary Committee on Finance. The committee poked holes in the documents which showed more of anticipated tax revenue. However, Musasizi defended the projected revenue of 1.741 billion Uganda shillings in the financial year 2025-26 from the tax policy and 3.164 billion Uganda shillings from URA administration measures. Take a look.
The Minister of State for Finance, in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, has presented 8 tax policy proposals to the Parliamentary Committee on Finance. In the income tax proposals, government, among others, seeks for monthly rental income compared to the current quarterly system. There is also a plan to introduce a 10% withholding tax on the commissions paid to data and voice bundle distribution agents. The entertainment sector recently celebrated the passage of the Copyright and Neighbouring Rights Bill 2025. However, the new tax proposals could set a tune for the dance.
This is for musicians. When the Baram is doing his evivuro, so on his income, we want to take 6% of it because he's earning income. When you are doing comedy, same. When you are doing comedy, when I was young, I used to go to Theatre Bonita. Yes, I would pay, but there would be no tax charge.
In the excise duty, 200 shillings per litre has been proposed as additional to petrol and diesel. Currently, petrol is charged 1,550 and diesel 1,230.
And the objective here is to raise revenue.
In the current financial year, the MPs disagreed with the proposal to increase tax on fuel.
When you look at the documentation from the Ministry of Finance, they acknowledge that prices have already started going up because of the war in the Middle East. But in their assumption, they state that this war is temporary, that in the coming financial year, things will be back to normal when they begin implementing this tax. But how certain are we that this war is going to end tomorrow? We saw the war in Russia and Ukraine. It has been there for years, yet we anticipated it to spend maybe weeks or days.
Government also aims to promote local producers of alcohol by increasing tax on some of the imported alcohol.
Here what we are talking about John Walker, Jack Daniels, Jameson, Singleton, you can Black Label, you can mention others and other beers.
Minister Musasizi is cognizant of the private sector growth after various voices are opposed to some of the new tax proposals.
And what does the private sector need? The private sector needs an enabling environment for them to prosper.
The proposed additional 500 shillings tax on each bag of cement has been looked at as a hurdle for the real estate industry.
Yet the sector should be supported because as a country we still have a crisis. We have a shortage in terms of housing units in the country. Many of the available units on the market now are not affordable to an average Ugandan. Many Ugandans are not able to construct. That's why they are still staying in Mizigos.
In the tax regime, government eyes to generate Uganda shillings 1,741 billion in financial year 2026-2027 and Uganda shillings 3,164 billion from URA administration measures, according to Minister Musasizi. This could contribute to the projected revenue effort of 15.5% of GDP. However, the Parliamentary Committee on Finance poked holes in the financial implications of the new tax bills, which has been deemed as anticipated figures. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Now, the 2026 Annual General Meeting of Chamuhunga Savings and Credit Cooperative Organization in Bushenyi revealed a dire need of more enlightenment and education on the regulations guiding the sector.
City in agriculture, but maybe either floods or drought or something, or business gets challenges. So some did not prosper as expected, but a bigger percentage, at least they were helped by the loans they took. And looking at those, we supported on bursaries. Some have improved their homes at home. Some have educated their children.
2 billion. So generally, as an institution, we have grown in all our key performance indicators, and that's not itself not enough. The majority, the masses who are still in those total non-money activities can also be brought on board and join the money economy. So as SACCOs, we need to sensitize people to come on board.
When we go at the world level, I'm privileged I've been at the world level of SACCOs. Uganda is a case study of having multiple regulation. The Bank of Uganda, there is Minister of Trade, Cooperatives, then there is Minister of Finance, then recently the one which was taken to Finance, UMRA. So we are getting confused.
Busoga region continues to invest in education to revive its past glory. Among the schools investing is Busoga College Mwiri that performed well in the past exams. During the Easter celebrations, they used the opportunity to give thanks to the Lord.
And from now I'll move straight in your guidance, straight in the guidance of the chaplain.
Xavier Grace Tino, the Deputy Head Teacher in charge Welfare and Administration of Busoga College Mwiri. For so many years, Moureen has had has gone through a lot of changes in terms of growth and development in relationship to its academics, infrastructural growth, and all other aspects of life. We have been trying to rebuild and rebrand Moureen to be what it is, being a center of excellence, a center of patriotism in Uganda, because as people have always been told, what happens in Moureen impacts what happens in the country and in the whole world. So we have been trying to rebrand Moureen to get it back to a position that is admirable, that is enviable, and because God has heard our prayers and has given us good performance in both O-level and A-level in the previous year's results, the Lord has grown us infrastructurally, the Lord has grown our relationships with all the boys, with the PTA executive and the board. We have grown good relations with parents and the community around. We thought it was very important to thank God. As a school, we have a big challenge of human resource. We have a very big problem of human resource. Here we have 70 teachers, but only 30 are paid by government.
Now, dear viewer, that's how much we managed to stack in the hour to inform you on what transpired the past week. Thank you for watching to the very end. My name is Moureen Babirye. I'm looking forward to meeting you again at 8 and 10 p.m. in our subsequent news bulletins. Happy Easter.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules